So check out this scene. Isn't this one of the most beautiful things you've ever seen? With the water down there and all these suspended platforms and the parallax with the beach and the forest approaching. I just think it's really, really beautiful. Look at this. One of my favorite scenes from an Amiga game ever. Just gorgeous. Some people may not like the rendered graphics, and I'm usually a fan of just straight pixel art, but for some reason I just find this really, really gorgeous. The colors pop so well, and I love the purple and pink motif. So if you enjoy those colors, I just think this really is mind-blowing. So this game is called Ultraviolent Worlds, and it's from 1998, and it came out on the same CD as the PC version. So it's 256 colors, and as you can see, it has a locked frame rate of 25 frames per second. Never changes, always 25. And the crazy thing that all this vertical parallax with the platforms seems to be done with the CPU, so just with brute force. So you can see the blitter is doing all the objects, all the enemies, your shots, but it's not doing any of the rails or any of these platforms. Now, what made this game unique too is that it was requiring 2 megabytes of fast RAM. So just like Turrican 2 AGA, this one requires fast RAM. So you need 4 megabytes, 2 megabytes chip, 2 megabytes fast, and it really shows what fast RAM opens up. Because look at the colors, 256 colors. So the copper is not used at all in this game. And when it comes to sprites, it's just this whole side panel is one big sprite, kind of like in Banshee, where the whole HUD was like this. So if I take the sprites off, there it's gone, and it's covering up these glitches here. So I think like Banshee, by having the sprite here, you're able to use a higher fetch mode and give the blitter more cycles. So with the sprite included, the visible area is 320 by 256. And then without the sprite there, it's 256 by 256. The only difference I spotted in game between the VGA version and the Amiga version is this HUD. And I think ours doesn't quite look as good just because we're restricted to 15 colors for the sprite. Whereas with VGA, you could use all 256 for the HUD also. So it's just sprite 0 and 1 attached that makes up this whole 64 pixel wide sprite. I'm not sure if the PC game is also 25 frames per second or if it's faster. If anyone knows, please let me know. I would find that interesting. So with the palette visualizer, you can see all 256 colors, and it's quite rare for an Amiga action game to actually use 8-bit planes. Off the top of my head right now, I could just think of Reshoot Proxima 3 and Slam Tilt, and then, yeah, Turrican 2 AGA that I mentioned, and Ultraviolent Worlds. Usually it's 7-bit planes to have more speed, so again, the power of fast RAM. And Ultraviolent Worlds and Turrican 2 AGA show that if the Amiga 1200 came with some fast RAM, what kind of games were possible. I read an interesting point that someone made recently that if the Amiga 1200 had a longer shelf life, Commodore was bankrupt less than 2 years after it was released. So if it would have been a longer time, then at some point, fast RAM probably would have become standardized, just like the 1 meg expansion for the Amiga 500 did. Here's all 8-bit planes, bit plane 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There can be a lot of action on the screen at one time. Look at all these enemies here. It becomes more and more with all my shots and steady 25 frames per second frame rate all the time. Now look at all these guys. And again, here you've got a full screen of obstacles. Look at them all. If I scroll over, you have more and more and more everywhere. So yeah, this game is very, very technically impressive. And right here, there's a big chasm in the middle that scrolls at a different speed. But as you can see, it's not being blit. It's just the enemies and your ship and your shots that are being blit. So it's really impressive what they've been able to do with just the CPU to create all this parallax and all the different movement. This last level is extremely hard, as you can see. But luckily, I've got cheats. Sometimes I like to just put on the cheats and play through it because it's just such a audio visual treat. So it really is straight eye candy. It might not be the best shmup ever on the Amiga, but I think it's underrated in terms of its artwork and its technical brilliance. And it kind of shows that with just 2 megabytes of fast RAM, the Amiga 1200 could hang with 2D PC VGA games in 1998. That's 6 years after it was released. So I think I'm going to eventually try to beat this game without the trainer and just using save states because, yeah, it's super challenge. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe and comment if you haven't. Thanks so much. Till next time, take care.